Imagine you have like $5,000 in your pocket right now,
Okay.
and it's public money specifically meant to help you train for a new high-paying career.
Sounds great so far.
Right, but to actually spend it, you have to successfully navigate 5 completely isolated government databases, and they absolutely refuse to talk to each other.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's where it all falls apart.
I mean, you would probably give up or just, go broke trying to create your login accounts.
And historically, that is exactly what happened. I mean, the money was there, the jobs were definitely there, but the bridge connecting the two was this bureaucratic maze that practically required a law degree to navigate.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We have a seriously fascinating stack of internal strategy documents, system architecture memos, and policy blueprints from the state of Georgia to unpack for you today.
It's a huge drop of info.
Yeah, and today's date is July 26, 2026, and Georgia has just officially launched this brand new agency, the Governor's Office of Education and Workforce Strategy, or GOEWS.
All right, GOEWS. And this launch was a massive undertaking.
Oh, totally.
Because with the 4th Annual Governor's Workforce Summit coming up this September down at the Georgia World Congress Center, these internal documents give us a really rare look under the hood
Yeah.
of a system that is basically trying to rewrite the rules of economic development.
Exactly. So our mission today for you listening is to figure out how this multi-million-dollar tech platform is trying to solve this massive puzzle. Like, how do you build a completely friction-free pipeline from a high school classroom directly into a high-wage career without wasting a single taxpayer dollar?
A tall order.
Yeah, so let's unpack this.
Well, the stakes here are incredibly high. Yes, this is, a localized initiative in Georgia, but fundamentally,
Yeah.
this is a case study on the collision of public funding, artificial intelligence, and human capability.
Yeah, it's big.
It's a literal masterclass in how a massive organization tries to match human potential with actual market demand.
Okay, but to really appreciate what this new GOEWS platform is, we first have to understand the total nightmare it is replacing.
Right, what the documents call the fractured pass.
Fractured pass. Let's bring this down to earth for a second. Let's imagine a hypothetical citizen. We'll call her Sarah.
Okay, Sarah.
She just got laid off from a retail job, and she wants to retrain to become, say, a dental hygienist. Under this fractured pass, what does her Tuesday morning actually look like?
Well, her Tuesday is going to be incredibly frustrating.
I bet.
Under the old system, taxpayer money meant for education and workforce training was split across 5 completely isolated silos.
5 of them.
5. First, you have the Department of Education, GATE-OE, and they handle K-12.
Okay.
Then you have the Technical College System of Georgia, TCSG, and the University System, USG.
So that's 3.
Then there's the Georgia Student Finance Commission, GSFC. They handle the financial aid.
Right.
And finally, the Department of Labor, GDOL.
So Sarah goes to the Department of Labor to find a job, but they don't actually handle the training.
Exactly. They send her over the Technical College System to look at programs.
Okay, that makes sense.
But wait, to actually get the money for the program, she has to deal with the Student Finance Commission.
Oh, geez.
And none of these 5 agencies share a unified database. So Sarah's sitting there, filling out the exact same basic intake forms. Her name, address, work history, 5 different times on 5 completely different clunky websites.
It's essentially a bureaucratic escape room.
That is the perfect way to put it.
Like, you are trapped in this room, you're trying to unlock a career, but the clues are hidden in 5 different buildings across the city, and none of the lock combinations actually match.
You're hitting on the core issue here, which is systemic friction. Because these databases didn't talk to each other, citizens like Sarah were just totally lost.
Yeah, give up.
Right. She might get so overwhelmed that she just, uses her limited public grant money on a random, easily accessible certificate that leads to a low-wage job with 0 upward mobility.
Just to get something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, state scholarship dollars, meant specifically for high-demand jobs, are just sitting dormant in a bank account in Atlanta.
And businesses were screaming about this too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, they were constantly complaining about talent shortages, even though the state was spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year on training. If businesses are desperate for talent and citizens are going broke in this escape room, someone had to realize the database architecture was literally strangling the economy.
And that realization came directly from Governor Brian Kemp.
Okay.
Under recent legislative mandates, specifically House Bill 1302 and HB 982, He set this new strategic directive. And the core philosophy is pretty straightforward.
Which is,
Georgia has been the hashtag one state for business for a long time, but you cannot maintain that title unless you are also the top state for talent.
which means demolishing the escape room.
Exactly. Demolish it.
So the state's solution was to build this unified digital engine, the GOEWS platform. But, I mean, just putting everything on one website doesn't actually fix the financial flow, right? How does this new engine actually work under the surface?
Well, the mechanics are where this gets genuinely innovative. The GOEWS platforms is powered by what they call a longitudinal data system.
Oh, okay.
It's named GAwards.
Let's define longitudinal for anyone who isn't like a hardcore data scientist.
Fair enough. A standard database just takes a snapshot in time. Like, did Sarah graduate today, yes or no?
Right.
But a longitudinal system tracks historical outcomes over years. It follows the data across all 159 Georgia counties to see if a specific college degree actually led to a good salary 3, 4, or even 5 years down the line.
Oh, wow. So it completely removes the guesswork.
It does. It knows exactly which training programs actually result in real paychecks.
Okay, that's huge.
And it pairs that historical data with the official high-demand career list, the HDCL.
Okay, the HDCL.
The state strictly aligns all of its training funds to this list. We are talking about highly specific roles here: dental hygienists, software developers, welders, civil engineers.
So if a job is on the HDCL, the system knows employers are practically begging for those skills right now.
Exactly. And this brings us to a concept in the documents that sounds incredibly dense, but is probably the most important mechanical piece of this whole puzzle.
Hit me with it.
Automated regulatory grant arbitrage.
Wow. Automated regulatory grant arbitrage. That sounds like something a hedge fund manager does on Wall Street, not a state workforce platform.
I know, it sounds crazy, but it is a brilliant piece of back-end logic. Let's go back to Sarah.
Okay.
Under the new GOEWS platform, when Sarah creates a profile and selects dental hygienist, the system automatically performs this arbitrage.
What does it actually do, though?
It looks at all the different pools of public money available to fund her training, and it forces a very specific sequence.
Oh, interesting.
It automatically matches her with state grants, specifically the Hope Career Grant, before it ever touches federal money.
Okay, let me puzzle this out for a second. Why does the order of the money matter? I mean, money is money, right?
Not in government, not at all.
Really?
The federal money, specifically what's called WIOA Title I funds, that's the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, it comes with massive amounts of federal red tape.
Oh, of course it does.
It's highly restricted, the reporting requirements are absolutely brutal, and the pool of money is strictly finite. But state money, like the Hope Career Grant, is much more flexible.
Ah, I see. So by forcing the system to automatically absorb Sarah's tuition via the state's Hope Career Grant first, you zero out the out-of-pocket cost for her immediately.
Exactly, and you protect the federal dollars.
Oh.
Right, so the local workforce board gets to save their highly restricted federal WIOA money for other critical things like supportive services.
That makes total sense.
The internal documents call this a 7x multiplier. By capturing state aid first through this automated routing, local boards can suddenly stretch their budgets to train 7 job seekers for the exact same amount of federal money it used to cost to train just 1.
Wait, okay, stop right there.
Yeah.
I get that the back-end logic is brilliant for the state budget. A 7x multiplier is obviously great.
Sure.
But if I'm Sarah and I just lost my job, aren't you just throwing me to the algorithmic wolves?
What do you mean?
Well, I log into this massive all-knowing data portal, and it starts automatically routing my life based on longitudinal data and arbitrage. Doesn't that just create insane information paralysis for a regular person trying to navigate a traumatic career change?
You know, you have just zeroed in on the exact vulnerability the system architects themselves highlight in the strategy documents.
Really?
It is a massive risk. They openly admit that this multi-million-dollar platform will completely fail without what they call a human enablement layer.
Meaning like an actual breathing human being to sit with Sarah.
A highly trained one, yes. The documents outline critical blind spots that plague standard IT rollouts.
Like what?
Well, the first is the vendor delivery and departure trap. Think about how this usually works. A state pays a tech vendor millions to build the code.
Right.
The vendor launches the portal, gives the state employees a generic 1-hour webinar on where to click, collects their massive check, and disappears.
So they teach them the buttons, but not the strategy.
Exactly.
Huh.
They never train the frontline human workers on the actual cognitive workflows needed to use the tool to change a citizen's life.
Wow.
And that leads directly to the second blind spot, shadow system proliferation.
Oh, I've seen this in corporate America. When a new software is just too confusing, people just go back to using sticky notes.
That's it entirely. Overworked case managers get confused by the new interface, so they build offline shadow systems.
Like paper binders and stuff.
Paper binders, local Excel spreadsheets, handwritten checklists. The multi-million-dollar portal gets ignored, the real-time data never gets entered, and the whole system becomes practically useless.
That's crazy.
The documents refer to this as Buckles interval realized.
Buckles interval.
Yeah, it's the fatal widening gap between the software architects who designed the system and the frontline workers who are actually forced to use it.
So essentially, giving someone this GeoAWS platform without a trained human case manager is like, well, it's like handing a construction worker the blueprints to a skyscraper, but forgetting to give them a hammer, a hard hat, or even bothering to teach them how to read the blueprint in the first place.
That's exactly right.
You just say, good luck, build the tower.
And it becomes actively harmful for the job seeker if they try to bridge that gap on their own.
How so?
Let's say Sarah decides to use the platform completely unassisted. The platform tells her she needs a resume for this dental hygiene program.
Okay.
So she goes out to the open web and uses a generic AI chatbot to write it for her.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the documents identify this as the AI isolation trap.
Let me guess. She just types, write me a resume for a dental hygienist into a free chatbot.
Yep. And the user effectively turns into a resume vending machine.
A vending machine?
They blast out 500 beautifully written, flawlessly formatted resumes.
Yeah.
But the AI just hallucinated half the skills or used super generic industry buzzwords.
Yeah.
So when Sarah miraculously lands a live interview, she completely bombs it.
Because she has no authentic connection to the text.
Exactly.
She didn't do the actual cognitive work of mapping her past retail experience like, customer service or managing inventory to the new role. She just pushed a button and got a piece of paper.
The non-negotiable solution here is an AI-literate case manager. You need a human being who can pull the official longitudinal data from the GeoAWS platform and then sit down with Sarah and use AI not as a vending machine, but as a sparring partner.
A sparring partner. I like that.
This case manager uses the AI to help Sarah translate her legacy skills into the new industry language, actively preparing her for the actual interview.
And a human case manager can see things an algorithm never could, right? I mean, the documents talked about something called predictive barrier triage.
Yes. This is the human superpower in the system.
Okay, unpack that.
Software cannot sense when a 19-year-old student's car breaks down on a Tuesday afternoon.
Right.
It cannot sense if a single mother's childcare arrangement suddenly falls through. If those real-world barriers hit, the student drops out of the training program.
And the software just logs it as a failure.
Exactly, a cold, hard data point.
But a human case manager sees the distress, catches the problem, and issues a supportive voucher, maybe from that federal WIOA money they saved earlier, to literally just fix the car.
The human bridge is what actually keeps the pipeline intact.
Yeah.
Technology is brittle. Humans are adaptable.
Okay, so we have the unified tech engine, we have the automated grant arbitrage saving millions of dollars, and we've established that the human case manager is the absolute linchpin here.
Right.
But here is the ultimate question for you. How do taxpayers actually know if this is working? Like, if the tech alone isn't enough, how do we measure the return on a multi-million-dollar state investment?
Well, the strategy documents introduce an accountability scorecard to address exactly this. It's called the TPEC-3 model.
TPEC-3.
And it is fiercely critical of what it calls vanity metrics.
Vanity metrics. Let me guess, we had 100,000 clicks on the new GeoAWS portal this month. Or we registered 50,000 new accounts.
Spot on. They look phenomenal in a press release, but they're entirely hollow.
Yeah.
I mean, if those 50,000 people didn't actually secure high-wage careers, the state just built an incredibly expensive digital waiting room.
Wow. Yeah.
The TPEC-3 model is a closed-loop growth model designed to measure actual systemic value, not just random activity.
Okay, let's break down that acronym. TPEC3, that implies a chain reaction.
It does.
Let me think about how this cause and effect would work. I'm assuming T is time, specifically time saved by the new tech.
Correct. The GeoAWS platform automates the data entry and all that complex financial routing we talked about. So suddenly a case manager has hours of freed up time every single week.
But time saved is meaningless if it isn't directed somewhere useful.
which leads to the P, productivity.
Okay.
The case manager can't just go home early. They have to reinvest that saved time into actually coaching human beings.
Got it. And as they do that more often, we hit the E, efficiency.
Exactly. The new coaching processes become repeatable and streamlined. Friction drops, errors drop, which naturally drives the first of the three C's, conversion.
Conversion meaning Sarah actually landing the job, right? A higher percentage of job seekers successfully navigating the pipeline and getting hired rather than just dropping out halfway through.
Exactly. Which triggers the second C, cash.
Cash stabilized.
Yep.
So for a private business, that's top-line revenue. But for the state of Georgia, that means citizens are moving off state support systems and into tax-paying roles.
Right. And the state is maximizing those federal grant dollars without any waste.
Okay.
Now, this is where most organizations, especially massive corporations, stop measuring.
Really, they just stop there.
Yeah, they look at conversions and cash. They hit their quarterly targets, they put it on a nice graph, and they show it to the board of directors.
Right.
But the documents specifically call out this strategic vulnerability. If you only measure at the cash register, you get a short-term bump, but long-term fragility.
Interesting.
For a system to survive economic shifts, it must reach the final C, capabilities.
Capabilities, meaning human growth.
Exactly.
But wait, how do you actually measure that? You can easily measure cash, but how does a state government measure capability?
By tracking the behavioral shift in the workforce.
Okay.
The software literally measures if case managers are spending, say, 40% less time trapped in paperwork workflows and verifies that they're spending 40% more time in documented face-to-face coaching sessions with citizens.
Oh, wow.
You measure capability by ensuring the ROI is being aggressively reinvested back into the human beings running the system. If the case managers and the citizens are continuously learning, the system compounds its own resilience.
I want you to think about that for a second. If you're listening, think about your own workplace or even your personal life. How often do we deploy a new app or a new software system just to save time?
All the time.
Right. But we completely forget to measure if it actually improved our human capability. We usually just take the saved time and fill it with more mindless busy work. We rarely reach that final C.
It's a profound shift in how an organization measures success. Taxpayers shouldn't just accept a press release saying the software was launched. They should demand proof that the software actually elevated the human capital of the entire state.
So to bring all of this together, we started by walking through the fractured past, this bureaucratic escape room where 5 different state agencies were inadvertently hiding resources from the very citizens they were trying to help.
A total mess.
Yeah. And we explored how the new Joe EWS platform unifies that ecosystem using the J Awards longitudinal data and the high-demand career list to automatically perform grant arbitrage, stretching those federal dollars 7 times further.
And we also looked at the critical human element.
Right.
The stark realization that a multi-million-dollar tech portal is completely useless and potentially harmful if you fall into that AI vending machine trap without an empowered AI-literate case manager to guide a citizen through real-world barriers.
And finally, we saw how true success isn't measured in website clicks, but through the TPEC-3 model, tracking the chain reaction from time saved all the way through to enhanced human capabilities.
Right.
So the ultimate takeaway here is that whether you are a state government managing billions of dollars or just an individual trying to navigate your own career transition, technology only provides the map.
Yep.
The map is essential, it's accurate, and it's optimized. But empowered human capability actually drives the car.
And that framework leads to one final, incredibly provocative concept buried deep in these strategy documents.
Oh.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time today talking about the individual job seeker. But there is a macroeconomic layer to this GOEWS platform called the talent warranty.
The talent warranty.
Yes.
What exactly is the state warranty?
Well, when massive global conglomerates think electric vehicle battery plants or aerospace manufacturing hubs, what the state calls mega sites, are deciding where to build their next multi-billion-dollar facility, they evaluate states based on talent agility.
Okay, that makes sense.
The documents describe this new GOEWS platform as a direct tool to de-risk those massive capital investments.
Meaning the state is using this frictionless pipeline to make a literal promise to the corporation.
Exactly. The state can effectively prove, using this longitudinal data and automated routing, that they can take local citizens and pipeline them into highly specialized custom corporate credentials within 90 days.
Oh, wow.
They're warranting the talent supply chain on demand.
Wow. Think about the implications of that for a second. If a state can practically guarantee a custom-trained workforce for a specific incoming megasite, does public education stop being just a social service?
That's the big question.
Does the workforce of a state literally become a tradable corporate asset class?
It's intense.
It is a massive philosophical shift in how we view the relationship between government, education, and private industry. Definitely something for you to chew on until next time.
The muddy waters of the past are certainly being cleared by this technology.
Yeah.
But the new pathways they're building bring entirely new questions to the surface.
Like we said at the start, it's a puzzle with real human livelihoods at stake. The state is upgrading the engine, but it's the people who have to steer it. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.